the memoir thing. What was your larger question? I'll get to the old lady in the stick, but the thing about... Well, oh, thank you. So every memoir, I mean, so it had it's a narrative arc of its own. It was very, and I think if you would all find this writing about your own lives. If you focused on that summer when something bad happened, you'll find there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Townie arose for me from an essay about baseball and my sons. I was not planning to write a memoir at all. I was going to write, I thought, the first funny thing of my life, ever. Because my sons taught me baseball. You know, the American myth is your father throws with you, he takes you to the game, boy or girl, you know, passes down the American game. No, I fell in love with baseball when my son started to play t-ball. I didn't know how to play catch throw. I never played, never watched a game. I watched one or two, that was it. So t-ball, the kids hit it off the tee, you know, c-ball, the coach pitches. B-ball, 8 or 9 years old, the kids start to pitch to each other. And right around when they're 8 or 9, I noticed it got a lot more competitive. Not with the kids, who could give a damn. With who? The parents and the coaches. So I'm watching, so my son Austin, when he was 9, he was the pitcher. And the opposing pitcher, who weighs like 36 pounds, is on the mound. And his coach is like Steve's side, big guy. And the coach yells at him, "Timmy, I don't want nothing but strikes out of you. You hear me? Only strikes!" I look at a father and say, "Holy shit, Pedro Martinez doesn't throw only strikes." Because I knew who Pedro was by then. So I volunteered to coach baseball the following season to protect my sons from the drill instructors and the crazy parents. Except I forgot I didn't know how to play baseball. So there'd be many moments like this in the season where, in the first year we were 1-15, and that's when I learned that the first number is the winning column, the second one's the losing column. And we're, you know how a company always is the sponsor? Ours was a funeral home. And there'd be many moments like this where I go, Dan, run, Dan. Coach, he's not allowed, it's against rules, he can't run now. Are you sure? Yeah, he can't run now. Oh, come. Oh, you're out? I'm sorry, kid. Come on back. So, Steve, I'm writing this essay about baseball. How is it that I miss baseball? You know, that's a question fueling it, because I love baseball. I had this belief, right? We all know what happened to us. God forbid, you know, unless you've got trauma, then you've got some real repressed memories. That's fairly rare, but most of us can tell what happened. Can get up here and say, I was born here, I did this, I married so-and-so, here I am. But I would submit to you that just because we know what happened, what the hell happened? Right? I know Mom and Dad divorced when we were 9 and 10, but what the hell was that about? I know Uncle Harry went to prison when we were 14, but what the hell was that? And that question is why we write memoir. If you look at the word to remember, you know what the opposite of the word remember is, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters? It's not forget. It's chop, chop, chop. Dismember. Remember means to put back together again. It's a long-winded way of saying, as you're putting back together the experience that you're focusing on, it will show you the beginning, the middle, and end. It will show you the... I found a very strangely defined arc. I was a small kid. I was a bullied kid. I was a new kid in school 3-4 times a year. We were poor. We moved for cheaper rents. I got beat up a lot. I snapped. I became a boxer. I became a guy who hit. I would go after anyone who went after. If a man went after a woman, I don't care if it's 300 pounds, I would go after him. If a bigger guy went after a smaller guy, I'd go after him. I was arrested 5 times. I was beat up a few times, but I was a dangerous guy. And it was creative writing that got me on a path of peace. It's very defined, and I wouldn't have known it if I hadn't gone back to put it back together. And Steve, my father shows up in the book. I didn't want him in my book. I've got to share your name, I got to share the friggin' shelf with you, and I got to share my friggin' boyhood story with you too! It's my little memoir! But as I was writing my way into as I was putting it back together, what the writing was showing me, again, this whole notion of writing being larger than the writer, what the writing was showing me was my father's daily absence in our lives became a huge presence in the book. And I realized on a thematic level I was writing more about fathers and sons than I was anything else. And that defined, so the ending of that book is his death. And my brother and I dug his grave and we built his coffin and we buried him with our hands. And that was, it was the place to end the book because I allowed him in. So, Allow everything in. You can always shave it later. Don't say, oh, this isn't what the story's about, I'm not going down that road. Go down every road that presents itself. You can shave and cut later, and that's how you'll find the story, and that's how you'll find the art.